introduction, my name is Tony DiLaura. I'm coming from Zeeland, Michigan. So, yeah, Michigander?
Yeah.
Michiganders.
Michigan.
Where?
Detroit.
Detroit. I grew up in Grosse Pointe. That's sort of close. Where? Okay, we won't put it. All right. So yeah, I'm now over here on this side of the hand, the West Coast. I teach in a public high school, one-to-one iPad program for the last 3 years now. So we have 2 high schools that share the same campus, the Zeeland East Chicks and the Zeeland West Ducks. So I don't know that there's any other high schools out there with a mascot of a chick and a duck. It would be very, very intimidating. So we had initiated a one-to-one iPad program 3 years ago. 2,000 students between the 2 high schools. We're now one-to-one.
Focus on him.
And
then when he starts to use the screen,
so we added on the middle school last year, and now we added on the elementary schools. So it's a little bit of about 4,500 students altogether. And kind of rolled up our sleeves. Our teachers got the iPads a month before the students did. So if you're thinking about rolling out iPads, I'm not sure that's the best way to do it, but you know, that's like the swimming instructor that just throws the kid into the deep end and says, all right, swim. You got to kind of figure it out a little bit. So there's a little bit of goodness to that, but also I think you'd be better prepared with some professional development up front. So I was a high school math teacher at the time and teaching Algebra 2 and Geometry that year. I dove right into using the iPad within my classroom. Last year I moved to being the K-12 instructional technology coach, working with our teachers over the districts, helping them integrate the iPad. And honestly, I missed the kids. So this past year I asked if I could do part-time teaching in the classroom and then secondary coaching. So I'm coaching our teachers in grades 6 through 12, and then integrate the iPad to their learning environment, and then also teaching part-time. So I missed the kids. I missed being able to do things with technology. I was just telling people to do things with technology instead of actually showing them how it can be done. And so hopefully I gained a little bit of credibility too with my staff, being back in the classroom. Today I think we have a small enough crowd. Feel free to ask questions along the way. We're going to be talking today about open educational resources. So unless it was the word free that caught your attention, and if you're like, oh, sweet, they're going to give away free stuff, I'm coming here. We're going to talk about open educational resources, Creative Commons, copyright, some of the boring stuff, but you need to know it before you journey down that road. For the reason of, if you're moving to a one-to-one program, you are going to have this world of rich multimedia content at your hands. How to leverage that so that you can move away possibly from printed curriculum, purchased curriculum. If information out there is free, try to give you some tools to curate that content, also to know how to properly attribute it. Not only as teachers, but also to teach your students as they do research projects, as they do iMovies and keynote presentations and pages documents, things like that. You're going to want to teach them how to properly attribute images that they're finding off of Google or videos that they're finding off of YouTube, because we can't just go out there and grab things because they're online. All right, so here we go. Let's jump in. Just overall objectives, and if these objectives of our next hour together aren't aligning with yours, I will not at all be disappointed if you get up and walk out and go find another conference or another session, okay? So I want to make sure you're getting out of your time here on a Saturday. I applaud you guys for learning on a Saturday what you came here to do, okay? So we're going to talk about Creative Commons, copyright versus education fair use. How can I how can I license my own creative digital content? Open educational resources, the why, the where, the how. And then we're going to do a little bit of a deeper dive into iTunesU. If you are thinking iPads, iTunesU is the place to go and grab open educational resources, curate a great multimedia rich course, and they're all creatively licensed material out there. All right, so disclaimer before we get going, I am not a lawyer. What I say here will not stand up in a court of law should you be sued by Fulton Google or any of those other publishing companies. The laws of copyright are very ambiguous. They There's not a fine line that says when you stepped over that copyright line. So it's they're blurred for a reason. A lot of it's kind of like that whole saying that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Copyright also, and educational fair use is also kind of in the eye of the beholder. And what they say can kind of go towards or against your use of their content. All right, so I'm not offering legal advice, otherwise I'd be charging you for this time. Okay, so just by definition, I'm not sure if anybody's ever taken the time to look it up, but copyright, the difference between copyright, the difference between Creative Commons, educational fair use, and royalty-free. Copyright laws regulate the use of the work of another individual's, work of another individual. Unless otherwise stated, all creators own the content that they've created. So this is anything that's been created out there. Songs, videos, keynote decks, so on and so forth. Research papers, that is the creators, the owners of that, their intellectual property, their digital media rights. They own the rights to that. Okay? Now, Creative Commons was invented a few years ago to work alongside copyright so that others could reuse content without having to ask permission. So if something is licensed with Creative Commons, you can use it. And there's different licenses. We'll go over in a bit what those licenses are and how it defines how you use it. And then fair use. So a huge part of the copyright law that allows for free use of portions of copyrighted material for one of these 4 reasons. Okay, so the 4 reasons are for commentary, criticism, research, and parody. So we can use copyrighted material out there, and we can claim the use of it for educational fair use. And typically, a good measure or a good standard is: am I using this for the social benefit of education? And will it harm the original creators of this content? So if you answer yes to the social benefit and no to the will it harm the original creator of the content, the purpose of the content, then typically you can say and claim fair use of that content. However, if you are using it for your own profit and kind of defacing either the content that was created or the creator of that content, then you should not be claiming educational fair use. That won't hold up. All right. And then again, royalty-free is typically not free. It essentially means you're going to pay some sort of token fee to use that content over and over and over again. The content does not belong to you. It remains under the ownership of the person who created it. Okay, so here's some myths as educators that we often believe in and fall prey to. I know I do, at least. If there is no notice, it's not copyrighted. That's false. All right, everything out there that's been created belongs to somebody. I'm fine as long as I'm not selling it. You've got to be careful of that. And my posting was just fair use. Again, make sure you're balancing those 2 questions. Am I using it for social benefit of education, and is it harming the original creator? Everything on the internet is public domain and therefore free to use. This is kind of what our kids believe. Even though they don't tag the word public domain, they don't necessarily know what that means. But if they can Google it and grab an image of it, hey, they can use it. That's not true. We need to teach them also just how to attribute, how to find usable images and videos. All right, it doesn't hurt anybody. It's free advertising. They email me a copy so I can use it. Real interesting story. If you do ever end up asking them permission to use copyrighted material and they email you, keep that email. Just an interesting story that arose over the summer. A lady said, hey, I was using this cartoon image this guy had created, and I actually asked him permission 10 years ago, and he had emailed me this document that said, yep, it's fine to use that on your website or your blog. Well, this past summer, he emailed and said, do you know you have my cartoon image on your blog, and yada, yada, yada. And she's like, yes, I do. And in fact, you gave me permission, and here's the email. So she was able actually to point back to his permission being granted to her to use it. So that's really cool. Copyright is a civil law. It doesn't mean much. Actually, there's been more and more instances of copyright violation, and it's having much more of a deeper impact. So in other words, it's it's being looked at much more severely than it has in the past. If I own the textbook that I can copy and freely distribute, again, you want to be careful of that. Let's say you're using an Edmodo type secured, locked platform, then that's fine for distributing to your students. Others cannot access that. However, if you're using something like iTunesU and you are putting worksheets and pages from a textbook into that's public and that's illegal. If I link to the original source, then I'll avoid copyright infringement. Not necessarily true. However, linking to the content is a necessary attribute of attribution. It's a necessary characteristic of attributing copyrighted work and Creative Commons. Okay, so a couple of truths. Copyright laws do differ by country. Online content, when you find stuff online, essentially conforms to the copyright laws of the country that you are in. In the U.S., we can use copyrighted content within certain parameters. This is true. We talked a little bit about that already for those 4 characteristics of research, comments, parody, and criticism. Copyright doesn't last forever. This is true also. Copyrighted content can be used to create something new. Also true. Authors can choose to license their work. Creative Commons license. Yep. Open educational resources are content license for reuse and redistribution. We're going to talk about that. That's the focus of our time here. And you as the author are responsible for maintaining the content, quality, and the license of your work. Okay, so how many of you guys have heard of Creative Commons licensing? Excellent. Open educational resources. We're going to kick off with a little bit of video from Creative Commons folks.
When you share your creativity, you're enabling people anywhere to use it, learn from it, and be inspired by it. Take the teacher who shapes young minds with work and wisdom from around the globe, and the artist who builds beauty out of bits and pieces she finds online, and the writer whose stories use ideas and images crafted by people you've never even met. These people know that when you share your creative wealth, you can accomplish great things. They and millions of other people all around the planet are working together to build a richer, better, more vibrant culture using Creative Commons. To understand Creative Commons, you need to know a little bit about how copyright works. Did you know that when you create something, anything, from a photograph, to a song, to a drawing, to a film, to a story, you automatically own an all rights reserved copyright to that creativity? It's true. Copyright protects your creativity against uses you don't consent to. But sometimes full copyright is too restrictive. What about when you want all those millions and millions of people out there to use your work without the hassle of coming to you for permission? What if you want your work to be freely shared, reused, and built upon by the rest of the world? Luckily, there's an answer. Creative Commons. We provide free copyright licenses you can use to tell people exactly which parts of your copyright you're happy to give to the public. It's easy. It only takes a minute, and it's totally free. Just come to our website and answer a few quick questions like, will you allow commercial uses of your work? And will you allow your work to be modified? Based on your answers, we'll give you a license that clearly communicates what people can and can't do with your creativity. You don't give up your copyright, you refine it so it works better for you. Welcome to a new world where collaboration rules. It didn't even exist just a few years ago, but now there are millions and millions of songs, pictures, videos, and written works available to share, reuse, and remix, all for free. Want to work together? Then join the Commons. Creative Commons.
So hopefully we're able to get a good understanding of what Creative Commons licenses are and how they allow us as teachers to repurpose, reuse what others have created and use them in our classroom. Now, this is huge because as you enter into your one-to-one iPad initiative, you're going to look for ways that you need to sustain that technology in your building, and you're going to have to repurpose some of that money, some of those curriculum dollars that maybe you're spending on print textbooks or printed worksheets or things like that, paper, and you're going to be moving into this digital, as Terry said in the other room. You have less physical, a little bit more digital content out there. And so there's this stuff out there that's licensed under Creative Commons that we can use. So when we are talking with our teachers, we really encourage them to be creative and create their own stuff. I think, first off, that's where you start. Now, obviously, that can take a lot of time, but then to give them the tools of where to go and find other stuff is helpful for them too. When you create, obviously, it's yours, but consider sharing it, and I think in the end, that's a little bit risky, that's a little bit vulnerable, right? You might not feel totally qualified to create educational content, but when you put it out there, you share it, education benefits, you benefit from it, your students benefit from it, we all learn from it, and wouldn't you want to know if something could be better? I mean, if you were doing something and it wasn't quite the best, people could give you feedback on it. So you risk a little bit of that ego when you share, but I think in the end, it ends up being better for it. So let's talk about the 6 different Creative Commons licenses. I said 6 and hold up 4 fingers. 1. So our first one, and they go in order of least restrictive to the most restrictive. So a Creative Commons license, remember, works alongside of copyright. The owner still owns that content, or the creator, I should say, still owns that content. However, they are giving permission to others to use this content in specified ways. So the first one up there at the top, Creative Commons attribution, simply means all you have to do to reuse it is attribute the original author of that content. Attribution share alike, they would like for you to attribute and then share back. So don't just give it to yourself, but put it back out there for others to build upon. Attribution no derivatives means that you can use it, you must attribute it, but you can't change what they've created. Attribution non-commercial, you can't sell it. So, Creative Commons licensing. The top 3 there, you can repurpose and you can sell. However, when the non-commercial enters into that, you cannot repurpose for your own profit. Attribution, non-commercial, non-derivatives, but again, these are just becoming more and more restrictive. You can't sell it and you can't change it. But you can use it as long as you attribute it. Attribution, non-commercial share alike. So again, you're going to not be able to profit from it, go sell it, but they want you to attribute and then, again, turn it back over, share it with the rest of the world. All right, so there you just have kind of your different abbreviations, what those all mean. There's one last one, the public domain. So public domain is copyright free. They've released this. You may use it however you see fit. It is the least restrictive license, and it's not really even considered the Creative Commons license, it's just public domain. So there are things that are out there in the public domain, original works, original books, such as the old Shakespeare books or the old English books that you can get out there that are in the public domain, and you're free to use their content. Okay. Here's where we kind of head down. Here's what we're here to talk about, open educational resources. Freely accessible, usually open licensed content for education purposes. Teaching and learning resources that are released under the intellectual property that permit free and reusing or remixing of it. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work on your iPad. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work on all devices. It just pertains to the license in which it's licensed under. So there are literally a myriad of open educational resources out there, And why we feel it's important is, I don't know if you picked up from Terry's opening keynote, is that there's these trends in education. A committee that's called the Horizon Project meets every year, and they forecast what's coming down the road in trends in education. And one of them is this open educational resources. So you saw when we kind of asked how many of you heard of Creative Commons, there were maybe a third of us. That over the course of the next 3 years is going to drastically change. It will be probably more like 90% of us, or if not 100, because these are going to become very, very essential to our technology. So they predict in 2 to 3 years that open content will be not only trending, but really the trend of where you're getting things. I'm not sure if any of you are privileged to talk to any of your publishing companies. So you bring in your publishing companies and you talk about your next curriculum purchase, and they say, well, we're not going to provide any more textbooks, so you need to purchase things online. Actually, we're not even selling digital textbooks. We are now just selling content, and you can package it however you want to. They have shifted their mentality to just being content providers. Okay, so we're going to talk about a growing list of open educational resources. That QR code will lead you to the Horizon report. Very interesting if you're looking at other trends in education. And for those of you that raised your hand in the other room when they asked if that interests you. So let's talk about where we're going to go get them. We're going to look at iTunesU. It is the largest repository of Creative Commons licensed content. Now, nobody really knows that because Apple does not release their Creative Commons licenses of those courses and of that content in there, which they really need to do that. They really need to put that out there. So I'll show you what I mean here in a few minutes. In iTunesU, there is, it started with colleges way back, MIT, Stanford, Yale. They started just putting their content out there, and you could take classes from them and see the professors lecturing, and then it trickled down into your high school. So now there's high school courses out there. Now it's trickling down to elementary. So you can get content from elementary grades all the way up to K-20. And then they have organizations like NASA, National Geographic, KQED. We'll take a look at their iTunes. Absolutely amazing. Just the great. Oh, sorry, you want it back? There you go. You see it? Yeah, that angle. Got it?
That's the angle, because I came in over here.
Got it? Only for a Michigan interview.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm gonna actually jump on to this guy here. Oh, don't look. Close your eyes. Yeah. That's good.
Focus on this.
Okay, so iTunesU, they've just changed their app the other day, and I'm not sure I really like it.
Let's focus on the keys
Jump
down.
into iTunesU here as well. Absolutely free. Yep. So iTunesU is essentially the academic version of iTunes. You purchase songs, you purchase videos, you purchase movies. Here in iTunesU, you have all this academic content. And if you're thinking of owning iPads, this is going to be a place where your teachers are going to build their courses. They're going to go to find these great educational resources. They're going to go to find learning, so on and so forth. So, so here's some science videos from MIT. Science videos from MIT. So if you're looking at just doing things in your science classes, right? Different motion graphs, basic brain anatomy, glaciers, I don't know about that. Primary sources. This is one that was just released, I think, 2 weeks ago. iTunesU primary sources. How many history teachers aren't looking for something like this? So you can go in here and let's see, JFK, right? Been a lot of JFK lately. So here is a 4-minute video, Civil Rights Presidents, John F. Kennedy. We'll just click on it. see, maybe your teachers want to do a special on JFK next week, right? To celebrate. Oh, it's a podcast. Sorry, it's not a video. It's a podcast.
As far as the
So, go back here. Your primary sources, that was just some of the ones that they've been streaming across. Here's a NASA. Click on NASA and see their Voyager 1, Voyager 2. And again, these all look like articles or links online. Audiographic, oscillating electrons. I'm not sure that's going to interest anybody. All right, so let's take a look more at just the K-12 world. So as you scroll down, it looks very similar to iTunes, does it not? I mean, you can see your different artists, you see your different categories and sections. I'm going to go down to this one here, just on the main page of teaching and education. So teaching and education, again, is going to bring up your STEM education, your primary sources, your MIT, here's your KQED, Common Sense. Anybody, once you employ your one-to-one iPad, or if you already have, Common Sense has great stuff on digital citizenship. You can have your students go through some of these tutorials and make that kind of be like their passport for getting their iPad. High school courses, Shakespeare, so I'll just jump in here only because those are my courses. Sorry, Shakespeare. But there's different things here. There's a, let's see, where is it? See it. But all sorts of great stuff. And this is all Creative Commons license. So that means you can reuse it in your own classroom. So I'm going to show you how to do that here in a second. Great TED Talks, presentations. So this works very similar to iTunesU. Let's say you're searching for something on, I don't know, give me a topic. Anybody? 12, 9. A-N or N-I?
Like Shakespeare.
12, 9. Looks like there's some albums there. Podcast, iTunesU collection. Here you go, Shakespeare. Let's click on that guy. What would you like? How to read a Shakespeare play. 12 p.m. to 12 night. 12 night. What can you learn from the character list? Let's just check this one. Yeah.
That's something I actually do. Because there's so many characters, like we have to lay that out.
Right. So as we look at just the opening, we haven't even
That
opened.
flashlight.
Now you guys read. So let's say we just picked up this play, or we don't even crack it over there. What can we learn from what?
All right, so that's an example of one, the guy's just filming in his classroom, and he's sharing that. Let's check out what other ones it might have been. Human nature, 12th annual art. I don't think that's what we want. Let's just go up to physics. Right. Science teacher in the house. Right. So here we go. Here's some iTunesU courses. Here we go. This is a good buddy of mine over Divine Child. You know Divine Child?
Divine Child? No, I don't know it.
Okay, so again, great. There's videos. There's some different interactives here you can access. So let's do types of force. You get a little quick cast. This is all just using this iPad. A little bit more, I don't know.
Angle for row 2.
So he's just doing this on his iPad and sharing it into iTunesU.
Not so bad, right? So those are both tension forces. Tension only pulls the direction the row's pointing.
All right. So the idea is you could really grab other people's content, stack it into your course, and let's show you how you can do that. Okay, so here's what iTunesU Course Manager looks like. This is how you would create a course in iTunesU. So I just want to show you how you can grab other people's content to start to build a course. If you think about instructional design, you want your students to be able to have some tasks to do, right? They're going to read something maybe, they're going to answer a few questions, they're going to give some response back. Might help. See, I'm going to throw you into my geometry course here real quick, just to show you what that would look like on the student end as well. So here it is, what it looks like on the iPad. I tap that little open geometry. And if I look at the posts, so on the left-hand side here, you see the date. Anything with a little dot, they had an assignment on that date. If I change the look by tapping on the 3 horizontal bars at the top left, because this is just an iTunesU app. So iTunesU app for the iPad is totally free. And then you just go into their iTunesU store and you subscribe to courses. I should have probably covered that. So let's just take a look at this last chapter. So this is what students see. They have a running list, and every day a new assignment is posted to them. So chapter 3, that's what they're going to need. Day 1, if they tap the little day 1 arrow, it tells them, hey, today this is what we're doing. Here's your key concepts. Here's your task to complete. And they are to check off those tasks as they complete them. So that's what that looks like. That's what these posts are. So I'm going to show you how to grab some material from iTunesU to make a post. Okay, so drill into this one again here. So
How do you create your own class?
I did not. It's iTunesU Course Manager. And
So you have to do that online, you can't do that from the app.
right. Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. And you would want your institution to set up an institution account, like your MIT, your Yale, your Stanford, your AQEDs. Once you have an institution account, then every teacher can create a contributor account, and they can manage their own course in iTunes. So here's just another post. So they had to do a link. They had to go out to the web and complete this quick check. Then they were going to read the next section in their iBook. And then, look, how many of you would want to have this assignment called Play and Create? Right? Yeah, I thought so too, but don't feel it. Just, all right, here, a little insight, right? Even in, things aren't perfect. I could stand up here and make it look really, really perfect, just so you know, it's not. Right? Kids still play games on their iPad. Kids still lose their iPad for a week because they broke a glass on it. It's not the silver bullet that saves on education. Sorry, I hope I'm making that one. It's a work in progress. Classroom management becomes a big deal. But iTunesU helps them organize their to-do list. As they check things off, their due dates disappear. So it's a real nice, handy, clean way to keep students organized. Okay, let's go back up to the computer. Yeah, so if you go to Z, just tap on Z. It's one of 2 Z schools in there. Yeah.
Can you do that in the catalog?
Yes. Yeah. So, sorry, I'll jump back over here. If you're interested in looking at my iTunesU course or any of our other teachers, if you go into the iTunesU app and then tap on Catalog, screen will open. There we go. One of 2 things you can do, if you just tap on K-12 right here, lots of K-12 classes in here. I'll point out a few of them to you. great example for elementary school teachers is going to be found Boyne City, B-O-Y-N-E. If you just tap on the B and you go down to Boyne, it's a great elementary, K-8. It's a great example of a K-8 using iTunesU. Boyne City, yep. No, from the iPad. So you go to iTunesU, catalog, K-12. There's a little tab on the right-hand side, K-12. And then the other one that we're looking at right now is the Zeeland Public Schools. So if you tap on Zeeland Public Schools, you'll find a list of what our teachers are contributing there.
Okay, so back up, your school created an
Yes.
for her.
It's, institution accountants, they created.
So you have to have that.
No, individuals can create their own iTunesU course. It's just going to have limitations on it, such as the size of the files that you can upload, or I should say space that they allow you, and the number of students.
So your IT person needs to create?
Yep, your IT person would do that through called iTunesU course manager, site manager. So here's a list of our books that we have created. And this is the one that I'm talking out of right now. It's just this open geometry one. Okay, so here's what it looks like from the teacher's standpoint. I'm in chapter 3. It looks very similar to what the students were doing. Now if I post something in here, I'm going to freak my students out, so I'm actually going to go to a different course.
Did you make all that from scratch?
Okay.
Did you make all that from scratch?
Yes. What, like, type it up and, yeah. I don't know. Okay, so I'm just going to go into this one, instructional PD. This is one that we put into for our teachers to go and like access training videos. I know none of them are going to freak out because okay. So, and what I mean by freak out, they'll get a notification, like if they have their badges turned on, it'll say, ooh, new homework post or new assignment posted by, and it will allow them to tap on it and open up in iTunes. Okay, so on the left-hand side here are just my like different chapters. I'm going to go into this one that I don't have anything in called screencasting. Okay, and I'm going to click on to add a post. So this is like essentially adding a homework assignment. Learning about science.
So some of the other teachers have been talking about like Edmodo a lot. Is this similar to that, except you're just managing your classroom through iTunes, you're just getting all of your students on board with how you're managing your classroom, and you're able to pull in this open source content and drop it in there.
Taking out the copyright word that you would have on Edmodo, right?
Yeah, okay, so there's a little bit of differences here. Edmodo is going to be, or at least have the ability to be locked. When you publish a course in iTunesU, it's public, so anybody can access it.
Yeah.
Now, when you put your content here, you do have to make sure that it is Creative Commons licensed, or at least that you're releasing that content. If you're posting that in Edmodo, then you don't necessarily have to worry about that because you can lock that down, and you should lock it down if you're posting stuff there that's copyrighted. Now, Edmodo is also going to offer a few more features, such as the social feedback. You know, you can have those discussion threads. You can do your quizzing or your polling. You can have students upload homework. iTunesU does not offer that. It's just a pretty kind of bare bones distribution of information checklist.
So I was actually wondering that in your district or school or whatever, when you use this, are you using it in conjunction with another learning management system? Because it seems like this is like LMS like super like.
Yeah. I am not choosing to use Edmodo. I'm only choosing to use iTunesU. And just for personal reasons, I mean, a lot of our teachers use Edmodo. A lot of them use Moodle as well. And we have a few using Schoology, we have a few using, what else? I don't know, some other ones. But, yeah, or just their websites. I've chosen just to stay with iTunesU because I found the discussion feature in Edmodo wasn't necessarily a huge gain in my classroom, unfortunately. I really wish it was. But nope. All you need is Safari web browser or Firefox. That's what's on Firefox. What's that? I think so. I'm not sure though.
So you have to have a separate portal just for grade posting and for parent access.
We use Infinite Campus, you know, very similar to like your Power School or your whatever your grading system is. That's what we use.
And they can't turn any assignments into here.
No.
You have some other way.
We are a Google Apps for Education. I don't know if Google Apps allows students to create a portfolio, a folder they share with the teacher, and they submit things into that folder, and it pops up on my desktop, my iPad, wherever. So that's how I'll collect information, or I use it for another. All right, so real quick, just to show you this. What do we go to, 10:30? 10:45?
10:30.
10:30?
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'll just say check out this video. All right? And then I'm going to post, watch great video on redwoods. I know which video I'm going to go get. Okay. So in iTunesU, and which is all you have to do is have iTunes on your computer. I jumped out iTunesU for some reason. I'm going to go back to the KQED. So I'll find that under Education Teaching. I could also just search for it. But here's KQED. They are essentially the public broadcasting of California. Okay? So here was my little video on redwoods I wanted to watch. Where is it? All right, we'll just grab this one here, properties of plastic. Now, every item in iTunesU has this thing over here on the side which says free, and then a little drop-down arrow. So all you have to do is click on that drop-down arrow, and you can copy that link. So I'm going to select copy that link. I'm going to come back over here where it says attach that material. I'm going to attach an iTunes or web link. So here's what you can essentially bring into your iTunesU course. You can have links from the outside, RSS feeds included. You can also have videos, any kind of documents, PDFs, pages, Word documents. And you can also have your interactive books, iBooks, eBooks, things of that nature. So I'm just going to select iTunes link there, that link, and there we go. There's properties of plastics. I'm going to select to add that. I better change my post which says watch the video on redwoods. All right, and I'm just going to hit post. So if you're subscribed to this course, in the next probably 30 seconds, you'll get a little notification that says your teacher or so-and-so posted this assignment to watch redwoods. So I'm going to come back over here to this course and see if it's in. Here's my instructional PD. And do our little update, a little refresh thing here. Yeah, desires for you all. Oops. Let's see, sometimes you do this guy. Go back to this guy.
Does that pop up in their email?
It won't pop up in their email, it will pop up in their little notifications. I think I have the notifications turned off. Yeah, or the little banner that puts down at the top that says you got to use Snapchat. That's the one that we see most frequently.
Do your kids leave their own?
They have three options. They can purchase, they can bring their own, they can do the purchase plan over 4 years, or they can just use the school owned. Most kids use school owned. Okay, so there it is, it's screencasting. This says, we're going to learn about science today, so watch this video. So students can grab that, and it is going to play up there. All right. So you've taken content that somebody else has created out in California about plastics that's really well done, really high quality, and you're allowed to repurpose that and put that into your own course. And that's really, really powerful stuff. People post all sorts of great stuff there. You can have your students extension type projects like this, or reinforcement type projects. I think it's vulnerable again to have teachers bring in videos made by other teachers to support their student learning. But if we want them to succeed, why wouldn't we support them with that information? Why wouldn't we, tack on one bank of great videos at the end of your iTunesU course or wherever it is, on your website or Edmodo, and say, hey, if you need extra support, just look here and watch these videos. If you need extra help. So go back here, see where we're at. So that's a little demo of iTunesU. That's the largest repository out there. Other great ones that you're going to want to know about are openculture.com, OpenEd.io, OER Commons. I think one of the biggest things that teachers say they don't want to do is, remake the wheel, rewrite the textbook. And you don't have to. You don't have to necessarily do a whole lot of writing. Teachers are great at copying and pasting. And a lot of the stuff is already written. It's already out there. You just have to know how to go out and get it and use it. CK12, you guys are familiar with CK12? It's a large organization that does digital textbooks. Again, it's Creative Commons license for you guys to reuse. Good. Okay. Got it? I think that QR code is actually a list to my, is a list to my DIGO webpage with all of these Creative Commons licensed materials. And the slideshow is already up on Edmodo. Yep. All right, I'm going to move on. Feel free to grab me afterwards too. Other types of open resources. Now we've talked a lot about videos and images and text, but these folks, and these are just a few that I've grabbed. Josh Micah is an educator out in the Chicagoland area. He's a librarian. He's really redefining the role of librarian in the digital era. And he has got a great list of open educational resources. Copyright. He was involved in writing a great course in iTunesU, which is also linked in your Edmodo, called Creating and Sharing Open Educational Resources. Things like Quizlet or VATQuiz, Triple 3D, anybody using Google SketchUp or Google Warehouse 3D images, all open educational resources that you can repurpose, you can direct your students to. GeoGebra Tube, anybody big GeoGebra user? For math teachers? Lunch, we'll do lunch. GeoGebra, it's GeoGebra Tube, it's Creatively Commons licensed math sketches. Great for science teachers though too. More physics. You get this dynamic movement of pieces. Okay, so real quickly, how do we teach our kids to also license content? How do we do it as educators? Here is the essentials for licensing your work. You need to attribute the author, the original author. That's what GVY stands for, attribution. So attribute the original author. You also need to link back to their work and provide the Creative Commons license so that others know how to license their work. I was going to demonstrate this. We got 4 minutes.
You have time.
We got time?
Yeah, it's 10:45.
Oh, does it? Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
So I want to demonstrate a few other things on how to find these. Because we looked at iTunesU, but that's not necessarily the first place we go. Where is the first place we go? Google. All right. so let's take a look at Google. All right, I'm doing a report on sharks, and I need an image of a shark. Which image do you think we're going to see in that result or in your paper? First one. You're like, all right, I can use this one. Oh, and in fact, you are going to be able to use that one. See, it's Wikipedia. So when we search things, when we tell our students how to search things, there's a way to filter it so that we only get images that we can reuse. And the way we do that, over here, gear settings. I click on the gears and go down to advanced search. You'll notice that it's saved my search word, sharks. Now I'm just scrolling down here so you can see that. Just scrolling down, and all the way down here at the bottom, it has the term usage rights. And right now it's not filtered by license. So if I click on that, I can see that here's some of my Creative Commons, right? Free to use or share. Use, share, even commercially. So if I'm making a book that I want to be able to sell in the iBook store, I'm going to search there. Free to share or modify. Free to use, share, modify, or even commercially. So that would just be the 5. That would be the least restricted. So I'm going to click on that one just to see what's out there. Because maybe I want to, draw something on the shark. Or maybe I want to change. Maybe I want to Photoshop in a guy that's diving with sharks or something like that. I want to augment that image. There's that first one. So these images here go on as San Jose sharks. Yeah, just Google.com.
What was that called?
Okay, so under the settings, you had advanced search. You had a little. Oh yeah, just web browser. Okay, so I'm going to pick one. Let's go. All of these look pretty decent. That one looks really cool. Okay, so we're going to grab this guy here. Now, when I click on that, you'll notice that here's my great white shark. There's a link to it. I click on this guy, and it directs me to the site Commons Wikimedia. So it allows me to download, use this file. So let's say I just want to, I can change the different sizes down here below the image. There's different sizes of that image. If I keep scrolling down, I'm going to see the license. There's the little BY person, and there's the little circular arrow, which means to share alike. So this is licensed under the attribution share alike. And my author is Brocken in Knoxville. So here's what I need. I need 3 pieces of information. I need to know what this license is. I need to know the author. And I'm going to grab the link to this image. So here we go. I'm going to download, save that image right to the desktop. And so what your students can do too. Save it. While I'm here, I'm just going to copy that. Let's say I'm working on a keynote. Let's go all the way down here to the last slide. Sharks. Delete. Oops. I'll add in my text. Say I don't want that. Let's just do this. I can just call it link. And then I can insert my link. There it is. Command J. I should just remember that. Web page. Okay, there's my link to it. And then I'll say photo. This is what I always do. The Commons Wikimedia. Brocken. see it? And then I'll just grab my shark and drop it in. And now I can use that and just, anyways, that's just kind of a quick and short version of, but again, you want to, I think, be careful of this as we enter into teaching with digital content, creating with digital content, having our students be creators. Certainly, our students are going to be the ones that are most impacted by this. Also, YouTube. So we did, sorry, two other things I just want to show you. So another website is just search.creativecommons.org. I'll blow that up so you can see that. Search.creativecommons.org, and it will automatically search all of these places for you. So if I type in, it's going to search all of those places. Let's say I want just Flickr. I can select Flickr here, and it's going to just search Flickr for Creative Commons licensed stuff on skiing. So Flickr has stuff that's Creative Commons licensed. Say I wanted this photo, I'll just grab that. So here it is on Flickr. Under additional information, if you find a photo there, that's their license. So you can click on that. It looks like it's the buy and attribution share like. All right, one last one. Our first favorite search engine is YouTube. And okay, so let's say I want to solve an algebraic expression. All right, so I'm searching for solving algebraic expression. I'm not really sure which one of these I can download and use. So I'm going to click on filters, and under filters you have Creative Commons. So if you select the Creative Commons, you're now going to have everything that is openly licensed. And the great thing about this, here you know what, we'll do even better. We'll go short, under 4 minutes. So even better is that what you can do with this is, let's say I really like this, I watched this one and I really liked it, simplifying algebraic expressions in certain form.
Quick.
If you click on show more, you'll see the category that it's under and then the Creative Commons attribution. The great thing about this is you can actually download this video. It says right here, remix this video. So let's say there's a part of it that you don't want. You can click on the remix and it will download the video for you, and then you can edit it and make it, shorter. You can add on to it, so on and so forth. All right. I realize it's a lot. So again, one last thing I wanted to show you, I guess, iTunesU. Everything in iTunesU is, when you create a course, you have to license it under some sort of Creative Commons license. So I'll just go back and show you here. So here's my iTunesU course manager for my geometry. When I go into, when I go to edit my course settings, right here at the top where you see it says licensing, everybody that creates an iTunesU course has to select the license. The only ones to select are ones that are Creative Commons. In other words, oh, just kidding, they added this already reserved. So this is why it's important. So when you're creating an iTunesU course, this is what I suggested people to do, is that in your information, in your description, that you actually tell other people what the content of this course is. So right here, I have it posted that it's shared under the Creative Commons license so that others can reuse it. All right, so I'll step back from the fire hose. Very long. How are we doing? Questions?
You said that it's in later on the placement. Can they bring ACs and tablet?
No, it's iPad 2 or higher, and it has to, it can't get them in.
And do you control what things we do?
If they are doing a school-owned device, the App Store is restricted. If they are doing their own device, nothing is restricted. They have to follow the school policies, though. Teachers can still take them away, so we can still enforce the school rules. Yes.
So you're accessing the manager on your computer,
Correct.
not on the iPad.
Correct.
So on the iPad, they just get the app.
Subscribe to courses. They subscribe to courses so that information can be distributed to them on the iPad.
You have to use your.
As a teacher, I can use it from Mac or I can do it from a PC as long as I have Safari web browser or Firefox web browser.